Insider reveals a surprising Bengals report concerning Trey Hendrickson and this Bengals front office. We're going to discuss what's in the report and what it could mean for Trey Hendrickson, not just in the 2025 season, but well beyond. Welcome to the jungle. This is Isaac Coffman with Bengals Digest. So happy to see you and all you Bengals fans stopping by for breaking news. When you want to be notified, make sure you are subscribed. If you are not already, smash that button. Join the community. We want to hear your thoughts on all the drama, all of this talk of Trey Hendrickson. It continues to develop day by day, so you don't want to miss out on all the breaking news. So an insider has just revealed a prediction on what's going to be happening with Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals front office. We've been hearing about him being in Cincinnati. There's talks going back and forth, but for the most part, kind of quiet. And the last report was that the Bengals were only looking for a one-year deal that might be some kind of pay bump, but only for that 1 year. Hendrickson was looking for a long-term deal. Well, if reports are correct, it looks as though Hendrickson is going to get his way. It is predicted $103.5 million extension will be coming Hendrickson's way. Very interesting. Again, going back to the Bengals originally saying they only want a 1 year extension for Hendrickson. They've shown that with players over 30 years old. They've been very hesitant on extending guys, having a long-term contract with them. But this insider is bringing out that's going to be the case. They go on to explain the reasoning on that. They said from the Bleacher Report, it's Gary Davenport, if the Bengals have legitimate aspirations of a deep playoff run, they need to figure out a way to get a deal done with Hendrickson. But with each passing week, that appears less likely. So it almost looks like it's going to be time sensitive. They need to get this deal done. But there are reports of this is a possible contract that has been floating around for Hendrickson. And if you break that down, it's a 3-year extension. So this would mean that he would be added on to the year he has currently for a total of $103 million. So a big deal, a big pay increase for Hendrickson there. I find it interesting that's coming from Gary Davenport that it's because the Bengals feel they're all in. That's what the fan base is kind of going with. The front office doesn't want the Bengals to win. They are not willing to pay their players, even though they pay Chase and Higgins this offseason. This would, I think, put that to rest. If you pay Trey Hendrickson that kind of money, that's showing a commitment, especially 3 years. That would break the narrative for the Bengals if they were to extend him the 3 years. I certainly could see him still playing up to his potential. It feels like right now Hendrickson is in his prime. He continues to put up the numbers. So the question comes down to, are the Bengals really going to do that? Maybe they are. There's a lot of bad press going around the Bengals right now, and they have more fans than ever, it feels like. A lot of support in those stadiums. When those games are sold out, you see there's that excitement. And the window is there. Burrow has 4 years with Chase and Higgins. They have that much time. So do you feel Hendrickson is that important piece you need to add on the defensive side to be able to do some kind of run, some kind of deep run into the playoffs? I certainly think you do. You need a guy like him at least. Maybe someone else is going to step up and be that guy, but his production for an already struggling defense last year, how do you replace that? So it comes down to, is Duke Tobin going to pull the trigger, so to say, on this? Is he going to say, we need Hendrickson that badly? We can't replace him. He's worth the money, and we are going to extend him. Now, if that is how they structure it, a 3-year extension, look for it to be more guaranteed money up front. Probably most of that contract is in the front end, and it could possibly go the way of Max Crosby in Las Vegas. He had a similar contract. It was multi-year, but if you look closely at that contract structure, that last deal, the Raiders can walk away and not have any cap hit or have any kind of penalty as a result. If that's the case, I think that's going to have to be the trade-off. Maybe Hendrickson realizes that as much as he wants that long-term contract, possibly he looks at it as if the Bengals feel his production dips over that 3-year extension, they're able to get out of that contract. But at the same time, it goes back to my concerns with if this is true. Hendrickson signed the deal he is to play under this year. He's not a free agent right now. He is under contract for $16 million. And what he's doing is he's sitting out. I've never been a big fan of players who sit out to send a message. Certainly, you can voice your displeasure. That goes with anyone, with any job. If you feel you are not appreciated, that's where you take it to the owner. You take it to your manager, those types of jobs. You don't air it out publicly and threaten to sit out and not do your job. You still would voice your concerns. So that's my knock with Hendrickson is I'm a Hendrickson fan. I appreciate what he's done on the field, but I don't think he's handled this the best way, just like the Bengals front office has not handled this the best they could. But I'm concerned too, because let's say he is under contract and the Bengals are not setting themselves up that if his production does dip, there's not some kind of penalty, maybe on the cap, or they can just walk away from the deal, so to say, like that Max Crosby. Is he going to sit out that last year, just like he's doing right now? Is that going to be the trend? Players are going to start feeling that if the market goes up, even though they signed a contract years ago, all of a sudden now, well, it needs to automatically go up to that market value. That would be my biggest concern with all of this. I'm not, again, a fan of him sitting out. That's a distraction for the team. That's hurting the team. And if this was, again, an affair that he was taken care of behind closed doors, of meeting with Mike Brown, with Duke Tobin, with all of the front office, and he had some kind of a disagreement, he wasn't happy, well, that's behind closed doors. Unfortunately, we're in an age with the internet, with social media, so these things are going to leak out. But going back to Hendrickson met with the media to cause a stirs. So I'm just not a fan of that. I don't think that's the way to go. This is going to be interesting to see, though. Are they going to feel that contract is a good deal? Me personally, it's a tough call. This is definitely a crossroads where if Hendrickson could put up the production he has in the last few years for that period, then sure. It's absolutely a great deal. Just think of what the market is going to be. The market value for defensive ends continues to climb every year. It's just going to keep going up. It just goes back to, do the Bengals really feel he's going to keep that up for the next 3-4 years? Remains to be seen. You're taking a chance either way. You're at that crossroads where you either let a guy go, he goes to another team and has career stats and helps them go to the playoffs, to the Super Bowl possibly. That would hurt as a Bengals fan to see Hendrickson go on a team. You're talking like the Lions. That's been a rumor that he's been linked to of a trade. Or do you think this is a guy that we're going to keep for the long haul? This is a guy that's going to help us get there. That's ultimately all we care about. We want to win a Super Bowl. We know we can do it with Joe Burrow, but he needs help, especially on the defensive side. He's a guy that can help you get there. A lot of questions to be answered, but if this turns out, it might break a few narratives at the very least, that the Bengals aren't willing to pay their players. They're not willing to go that extra mile to win. I certainly think that's what you'll see at the very least, but in terms of production, remains to be seen. But what do you guys think? What do you think of this contract? Is it a good deal to get Hendrickson on a 3-year extension at that price? Do you think that it's worth it to negotiate more to have something that's cheaper, not going to be maybe as long of an extension? We want to hear from you guys. Comment below and what you think of this offseason, all the contract talks, and maybe throw in a few positives as well. There's a lot to look forward to with training camp next week. A lot of excitement surrounding this upcoming season. Well, that's going to do it for now, guys. As we say, Hoo day.